Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining from. As Brooke mentioned, my name is Jennifer Differ. I'm the Director of Enrollment for our full-time and part-time MBA programs. And as we are now accepting applications for our 2022 start terms, hopefully this is perfect timing, as I'm sure all of you are researching different programs. Hopefully today you'll come away with some good information about Hult and our programs as you begin starting your applications. So before I talk about our specific programs, just wanted to share a little bit about Hult and who we are as a school. So we are the first triple accredited US business school. So this is something we're very proud of. We are recognized by education's three most prestigious accrediting bodies, and that is AACSB, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, the Association of MBAs, as well as EQUIS. We are the first and only business school in the US to achieve this triple crown status, which is something that's held by about 1% of business schools worldwide. So rankings are really just one of many important factors that you should be considering as you're looking into business school programs. But we are, proud of our rankings, and it is important to know that your degree will be well recognized once you graduate. So this is just a snapshot of some of our rankings. One that I always like to point out that I think is really noteworthy is the fact that we are ranked number 9 for female faculty by the Financial Times. So female faculty actually make up about 37% of our overall faculty, and that is kind of paralleled by our student body. Across our postgrad students, we have our postgrad programs, we have 47% of the student body represented by women. So at Hult, you will be fully immersed in diversity. No matter which of our campuses you study at, you'll work alongside students from all over the globe. And this is, incredibly important, learning from the unique perspectives that each person brings. The student body is diverse also, not just in terms of nationality, but also in terms of academic and professional background. So you'll be studying with students from all different industries, job functions across business, as well as non-business backgrounds such as engineering, education, and healthcare. Okay, so as I mentioned, extremely diverse. We have 145 nationalities represented across our programs and campuses, 148 languages spoken by Hult students. The average student does speak 3 languages. If you're here thinking I only speak 1, that's perfectly fine. Certainly not a requirement, but again, this kind of gives you a feel for the diversity of the student body. And our faculty do represent 45 different countries, so really bringing their firsthand global experience into the classroom. And as you can imagine, for a global business school, every topic that you study will really be taught through a global lens. The world today, as we know, is increasingly interconnected, and it's extremely important to understand how cultural differences play into different decisions, and really understanding kind of the interplay across economies. So whether you're taking a marketing class or operations management, you'll come away with a broader framework for that topic that will make you much more marketable to employers. All right, and of course, we don't want you to only be learning about global business in the classroom, but also having the chance to experience that during your program. So Hult does have campus locations all over the world in really our kind of major economies and cultural centers. We are located in Boston, San Francisco, New York, London, Dubai, and Shanghai. And regardless of which of our programs you do, you will have the opportunity to study at one or more of these locations during your program. Certainly not a requirement, but something we do encourage of our students, to be able to really get that experience living elsewhere. Okay, and at Hult, we really believe that experience is the best teacher. Our curriculum is very hands-on and practical. This is best showcased by our challenge learning, and you can see some examples here of how that's done throughout the year. Your time will be spent working in diverse teams on different challenging projects. So you'll have a lot of experience solving real world problems for leading clients throughout your program. So it's not just going to be lecture, a lot of group discussions, with the professor, with your classmates, and really getting hands-on experience during the program. And just in line with that practical approach, that's something really important to us in terms of the faculty that we hire. So all of the professors at Hult do come from the business world. They have real world relevant experience to share based on, their experiences working in the corporate world, or having started their own companies in many cases. One example, Mark Esposito, who has more than 15 years experience collaborating with the World Economic Forum. He's also worked with the UN, NATO, central banks, and EU institutions, and he teaches global economics, business and global society, and behavioral economics to our students, primarily in London, but typically our faculty do also travel and teach classes at other campuses. Okay, so let's look a little bit more specifically at the MBA programs that we offer. So first we have our global full-time one-year MBA program. So this is designed so that you're continuously applying business knowledge, throughout the year. It is a general management degree. You'll get an in-depth knowledge of all aspects of business. We do require that students in this program have a minimum of 3 years of experience post-university. And we do welcome students from kind of all professional backgrounds. So again, both business and non-business. The full-time MBA is offered at our campuses in Boston, San Francisco, London, and Dubai. And you will have the opportunity to also rotate to New York and Shanghai if that's something that's of interest to you. All right, so here is your year at a glance. So you'll study your core courses at your home campus, again, Boston, San Francisco, London, or Dubai. That will be September to April. And these are all of your required, core business fundamental classes. In the spring term, you'll end your core program with a capstone experience where you and your team will be devising a plan to harness a disruptive technology and utilize that either for a new business venture or perhaps applying that to an existing company. So again, really tying into that hands-on experience. During the summer, you'll finish off the year with electives, and we do encourage an internship as well. So although this is a one-year program, you do have time to fit in an internship. Your schedule's a little bit more flexible while you're taking those electives. And most students can do an internship of 10 to 15, maybe even 20 hours a week alongside their electives. And this is certainly a great way to get hands-on experience, especially if you're perhaps switching industries or gaining experience in a country where you haven't yet worked. And then our dual degree program, I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But the skills taught throughout the program are really informed by big data analysis. So we partner with Burning Glass to analyze millions of job postings globally. And then based on the skills that employers are seeking, we really build all of that into the curriculum so that, again, students are graduating job ready. All right, and here is a snapshot of the required courses that you'll be taking in the program. You see that there's a big focus on leadership skill development, where you'll take 3 leadership courses to really kickstart the year. And then again, you can see the range of other courses that you'll be taking from September to April. And then customizing your degree during the summer with a wide range of electives. This is really kind of your opportunity to take courses in areas that are of interest to you, in areas that you think are kind of going to put you on that trajectory of interest. You do have the opportunity to specialize. Students this year in the program have taken specializations in management, marketing, entrepreneurship, finance, business analytics, innovation, and project management. Something to note there, if you are interested in a STEM specialization, you can take business analytics or finance. You'd be able to add 1 additional elective in order to have that be a STEM-focused program. And just some examples of one sector of our electives, which are disruptive technology focused. So this is something we want, all students to really have exposure to. Courses such as artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, blockchain, cybersecurity. Each course has been built in partnership with industry experts. So you'll really learn how that technology works, how it's applied and might be applied in the future, and how that's really impacting all aspects of business. Okay, and as I mentioned, our dual degree program, this has been a really popular option for our one-year MBA students. Essentially, you have the opportunity to go on to get a second master's degree following your MBA. So you can take a degree in either international marketing, finance, or business analytics. So what's great about this, you're finishing 2 full degree programs in just 18 months. So if you do have that extra time, it is a way to just give yourself that extra competitive edge, especially if this is a topic area of interest to you. All right. And now switching over to our part-time programs, our executive MBA and hybrid MBA. So the key thing to remember with these programs is whether you pursue a full-time or a part-time program at Hult, the curriculum is going to be the same. So the topics that you're learning, the hands-on curriculum, the opportunity to study at multiple campuses, that is going to be the same experience across these programs, also requiring 3 or more years of work experience. The primary difference is that the part-time program is designed for candidates who of course want to continue working full-time while they study versus the full-time where you would be stepping away from work for the year. Of course, if you are working during the part-time program, as all students are, it will take a little bit longer. So the program does run over the length of 2 years. So here's, first year at a glance, very similar to the full-time where you have your core program followed by your electives. Now for this program, you take your classes over 1 long weekend monthly. So that would be a Thursday to a Sunday, full days, very immersive. And then outside of that, every week you can expect maybe 10 to 15 hours, maybe 20 hours, depending on the class, of outside work on your own time, from assignments to papers to readings, things like that. But again, your kind of in-class commitment for the part-time program will be 1 long weekend per month. Okay, so this is year 2, very similar. You will just be doing your capstone experience. One thing to note is you do have the option to accelerate this to 18 months if you like. Essentially what you would do then is put all of your electives into the summer of year 1. So if you'd like to be extra busy that first year, you will be able to graduate in a year and a half. So, we recognize the need for flexibility for working professionals. So this program does really have that built in. We want to help you achieve balance between your studies and your other commitments. And it's certainly a flexible program to make some changes if you have some changes in your personal or professional life. Oops. And then we have our part-time hybrid MBA format. So this format, you will still be part of the same cohort as our executive MBA students, as I just mentioned, 1 4-day weekend monthly. The difference is that, this is a program for students who need or want the flexibility of some virtual learning. So perhaps a little bit less travel to campus. One thing I did not mention for our part-time programs, they are offered in Boston in the US, as well as London and Dubai. So those are the campuses you would be going to for your core courses from September to April. With the hybrid MBA, 50% of your credits will be done in person, 50% online. And you can choose which classes you're doing in person, which classes online, again, giving you that flexibility, especially if perhaps you don't live quite as conveniently to campus. This gives you that opportunity to do some on your own time. In line with really that practical, discussion-based, team-based learning style. When you're doing your virtual learning, you will be logging on live to the class. So you will be, engaged, still participating in everything, just from home, from your computer. Okay, and here you see just a quick comparison between the two program formats. And for both of these programs, I should mention we have both a September and a spring start date. So 2 start date options in 2022 and 2023. Whoops. Okay, so whether you choose the full-time MBA or one of our part-time options, a key element of the program will be career development and the support you receive, right? I mean, this is incredibly important as you're choosing an MBA program. You want to be sure you have that support and guidance. So our global network of expert coaches will be here to support you as you define and make your next move. And you're in very good hands. Hult's career team actually won the Excellence Award for Best Business School Career Strategy in 2020 from the Association of MBAs. In addition to the one-to-one career sessions that you'll be doing with an advisor, you can take advantage of a number of workshops throughout the program, everything from fine-tuning your LinkedIn profile to taking part in mock interviews. You'll utilize a lot of our AI enabled career tools to help you refine your resume and connect with potential employers. You'll also have the chance to really connect with our alumni. I think that's something that's really great is that our alumni are often on campus or participating in events to kind of share their experiences with students. And we do see a lot of alumni hiring students as well. So those are great connections to be making. And speaking of hiring, just some statistics for students in the class of 2020. For a full-time program, you can see graduates hired by 440 companies across 58 countries. A few things to point out, we do see significant changes that students are making, either their geographic location, industry, or job function. This program is ranked number 2 for return on investment. So that does mean most students are making back what they put into the program in just over 2 years. And for those of you who are more entrepreneurial minded, you can see that 13% of Hult graduate students started their own company upon graduation. And that's been something pretty consistent over the years, as we do see at least 10% plus of students who are starting their own ventures. And then some additional points for our part-time program. Of course, many students, hoping to perhaps stay with their company, see that upward mobility. 70% of students, who were promoted or grew their own company since graduation, and 28% is the average salary increase just 1 year after graduation. Okay, and then we really see graduates going in and working in all different industries, but our top 5 are technology, financial services, consumer goods, healthcare and pharmaceuticals, and manufacturing. And then you can see just some of the companies across these industries and more who did hire Hult graduates over this past year. All right. And getting your MBA or EMBA at Hult and whatever school, whether it's Hult or whatever school you may pursue, really should just be the first stage of lifelong educational partnership with a school. We really believe it's incredibly important to continue learning. Everything changes very quickly. It's important to stay up on top of the trends. So as a Hult alum, you will have the opportunity to take one elective course free of charge every year for the rest of your life. Any of our campus locations or virtually. So this is really a great way to be able to stay connected to the Hult community and perhaps visit some campuses that you didn't have a chance to see during your program. Okay, so let's talk about how we help you. Talk a little bit about the enrollment and admissions process, how my team and I can support you, and kind of what to expect there. We do take a very personalized approach to the admissions process. If any of you have already had conversations with us, hopefully you've gathered that. But essentially, once you've requested some more information or started your application, an enrollment advisor will reach out to answer your questions, learn a little bit more about your interests, and kind of get you set up with the next steps. In order to submit your application, you'll first need to create your online profile, fill out the basic informational tabs, and submit the application fee payment of $75. Once you've registered your interest with us, we'll assign you an application manager who will work with you really as a partner to complete your application, your supplemental documents, and ensure that your application is in the best possible place when it's presented to the admissions committee. This will also include a personal assessment interview that you'll do via phone or video. And typically we are getting admissions decisions back in no more than a month after your application is completed. Your enrollment advisor, upon your acceptance, will then work with you on the next steps, including a deadline for securing your seat. You see here where you can go to apply, hult.edu/apply. Scholarships and financial support, as we understand, certainly an important consideration for many students. We do have a number of opportunities for partial funding towards the program. Students of any nationality can apply to these merit scholarships, as well as needs-based financial aid. You can see some of the merit scholarships we have, most of which really do kind of speak to different experiences students have had. So topics like social impact, entrepreneurial impact, global professional, women in business, that allows you to showcase some of your experiences and achievements. I do definitely encourage applying as early in the year as you can to maximize these opportunities. No surprise there. If you know you want to apply, please do get started on the process, and we can also get your application in front of the financial aid committee that much faster. Okay. And for those of you who are ready to get started in the process, we do have an early application deadline coming up Thursday, September 2nd. So wanted to put that on your radar. That will put you on track to lock in the 2021 tuition prices as they will be increasing in 2022. And happy to, again, work with you on any questions you might have, either myself or a colleague, should you be considering moving forward with an application. And then lastly, encouraging you guys to connect with us on social media. You can see all of our channels here. We also have a lot of great virtual events throughout the year where you'll be able to hear from professors, kind of get a sense for their teaching style, learn more about our campuses, things like that. So definitely encourage you to take a look at our website and keep up to date on those events.
Great. Thank you so much, Jenny. That was great. Packed with information. So I'm sure that all of our attendees really appreciated that. Again, for those of you in the audience, please feel free to input any of your questions into the chat function. I know that we did receive a few questions prior to the session beginning. So Jenny, if you don't mind, I'll just go through some of those now while we wait for the questions to come in. Okay, the first question was, is the GRE or the Gmat required for admissions?
Yeah, great question. So GRE and Gmat are optional for both the full-time and part-time MBA programs. We really put a lot more emphasis on professional experience and other aspects of the application in order for us to really see who will be successful in the program and beyond. That being said, certainly if you are happy with results, you've taken the test, you can absolutely submit those as part of the process. And one of our scholarships, the Dean's Scholar, does look specifically at higher GMAT results in a certain range. So definitely something you are able to submit if you have them, but they are optional.
Great, thank you. Another question that came in was, can I work during the MBA?
So short answer is you can, but and obviously the full-time program, I assume you're mentioning. So you can, but it's not recommended. As you can imagine, it's going to be an intensive program. You're going to want to focus not just on academics, but all of the experiences you'll have during the year. So one thing to always consider is if you are able to legally work at the campus location that you're at. So if you are, then I would encourage no more than perhaps a job of maybe 10 to 15 hours a week. If you're unable to work off campus due to a visa, perhaps you are able to work on campus up to 20 hours a week, but campus jobs are pretty limited. Those do become available, once you're in the program. So kind of short answer is not recommended, but if you do work, would be a kind of a nominal number of hours.
Okay, great. Claire has a couple questions. First one being, are you able to share a range on how much money the scholarships offer?
Mhm. Yeah, so, it really will depend on an individual student's profile, as well as financial needs. So all of those factors are taken into account. It is all going to be partial funding. Um, if I were to give a general range for the MBA programs, it may be around 15 to 20%, but we can kind of certainly see, funding on either side of that as well.
Okay, great. And then just a follow up to the GMAT GRE question, Claire just wants to confirm that the GMAT and GRE is optional for the 1-year program as well.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. And then let's see, is TOEFL required for full-time MBA programs for those who are from outside of India? They would like to know, and the fee range of the full-time MBA as well.
Sure. Yeah, of course. So if you are a non-native English speaker, then generally, yes, TOEFL or an equivalent English proficiency exam would be needed. There are some exceptions to that. For example, if you did all of your undergraduate studies in English in a country that that would be able to be waived, that's one opportunity. Also for our MBA and EMBA programs, if you perhaps did not do your undergraduate in English, you're not a native speaker, but you do have 2 or more years of work experience in English, that's something that can be considered. So we can always look at kind of case-by-case situation.
All right.
And then you asked about, or I think the other question was kind of a range of tuition fees.
Yes, for the full-time MBA program.
Yeah, so varies a little bit by campus, and London and Dubai will be listed in local currency, but kind of the general average will be between 75,000 to just over 80,000 for the full-time program.
Perfect. Okay, Grace, I know you asked about who you can connect with regarding scholarships. If you just want to email info.northam@hult.edu, I will connect you with your enrollment advisor, and then you guys can explore that together. All right, we have some good questions here. Another one is, I'm in New York and I prefer the hybrid program since I'm working and prefer to take online classes. Do I have to go to Boston to take the rest of the classes, or will I be able to take them from New York?
Yeah, great question. So in New York, our New York campus offers courses during the summer for the electives. So what I would recommend there, if you're doing the hybrid program where 50% of your overall credits are virtual, is that, and 50% would be in person. What I've seen in those cases is, you may want to do, for example, the bulk of your elective courses in person in New York. So that really kind of cuts back on the trips that you're making to Boston for the core courses. You also can do more than 50% virtually if you want, but kind of the way that the cost structure is set up is for that, taking into account the 50% in person, but you're certainly able to do more virtually if it's convenient for you.
Great, thanks, Jenny. Excuse me. What is the average weekly time commitment for the 1-year program?
So generally about 40 to 50 hours a week. So very much like a full-time job. I know full-time jobs can range in what the hours look like, but it is typically, 20 hours of in-class time of that number. And then the rest of that is really going to be individual assignments or time that you're spending working with your team on different projects. And generally speaking, the time that you'll spend on campus will be Monday to Friday, at 9 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. Certainly you may have a day or two where you're not on campus, another day where you're going to be there a little bit longer, but most of your classes will be Monday to Friday during the daytime.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
just
question.
to be aware of everyone's timing here, we'll probably take 2 or so more questions. Okay, let's see. One that frequently comes up is regarding getting involved outside of the academics at Hult. So are there student clubs or organizations, anything like that for students?
Yes,
And I guess it
absolutely.
kind of goes hand in hand with Claire's question as well. Do you offer social opportunities for spouses?
Yeah. Yes. You said social opportunities for spouses.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, kind of the first part of that, absolutely tons of ways to get involved. Um, we have clubs ranging from more academic, like accounting and finance, investment, consulting, entrepreneurship club, to special interest groups like photography clubs, social entrepreneurship, hiking and outdoors, wine tasting at the San Francisco campus. So you can kind of be a member of these clubs and attend certain events or take on a more leadership role. So really up to you how involved you want to get, but no shortage of opportunities. A lot of social events too, from gatherings on a boat in the San Francisco Bay, to going on weekend trips, and yeah, there are a lot of students who do have spouses who are maybe moving their families with them to a new location. So we do always see kind of those groups gathering and making sure that the spouses are getting to know each other, and that that there are different events they're able to take part in off campus.
Great, thank you. We will probably end on this last question here. Do you require recommendation letters as well when they choose to apply?
Mhm. We do. So it'll be once you've submitted that initial portion of your application, this will be one of the supplemental documents required. It is one reference, and we treat it kind of like a job interview where instead of requiring a full letter recommendation, your kind of recommender would complete a reference form, and we may reach out to them, for a reference if needed. So yes, one professional reference.
Great. Thank you so much, Jenny, for answering all those questions. Thank you again for the presentation. Again, very informative, and I hope that helped clear things up for our audience members. If you do have any questions, I will just put this into the chat again. You can email info@northam@hult.edu, and then I can connect you with your correct enrollment advisor. But again, thank you so much for joining, and thanks, Jenny, again for your presentation, and we hope to see you all at Hult soon. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much.